Vector control and vector-borne disease issues in Placer County have been around for over 100 years. Placer County was actually the area where some of the first anti-malarial programs were started. And we know that the colony of Loomis, which is now the town of Loomis, actually failed because of malaria. In the ensuing years, there have been lots of changes in agriculture and development that really put people right in the middle of where mosquitoes and vector-borne disease all kind of come together. Here in Placer County, we have over 30 species of mosquitoes, which makes our job both very interesting and very challenging.
I think the challenge is just the vast size of the district. There's lots of different habitats where mosquitoes can breed, and you really have to know a lot about the biology of the mosquitoes to really understand how to control them.
We implement what's called an integrated vector management program. Our control options start out by reducing or eliminating standing water. That's really the best way to control mosquitoes, is just not have a place for them to be. If we're unable to do that, we will use biological control. Our mosquito fish program allows us to use natural means to control mosquitoes, and they last for a long time. If that's not going to work in a particular situation, then we'll move into larvicides. These are materials that are put in the water to kill mosquito larvae, made from bacteria or other natural sources that we use to really target just those mosquitoes. And that's really what we focus on. Those three components are preventing future adult mosquitoes, which are ones that carry West Nile virus and can potentially spread other diseases and cause other injuries with their bites. Our employees are fantastic. They've really gone the extra mile to incorporate new ways of doing things, always innovating. We have a morning meeting where each technician gives a summary of what they plan to do for that day. Each technician is assigned a geographic zone of the county. And depending on the time of year, some technicians may need extra help or might be addressing a different species of mosquitoes. Right here at our district, we have a mosquito fish rearing facility. So we have mosquito fish, which are small minnows that we use to put into unmaintained swimming pools or ponds to help control mosquitoes. We grow them right here. We have a staff person in charge of making sure they're fed and that they breed successfully, so we have an ample supply of these fish to use. All of our technicians on their computer system will have an idea of what types of sources they need to address that day. So they will go and collect all of the materials, including fish, that they need. They'll pull up, they'll get a bucket of fish, and they'll take them out and place them in the appropriate places. Our crews will come up to a standing water source. The first thing they need to do is to sample the water. So they will take a dip of water and look into that water and see if there's any mosquito larvae. If they see mosquito larvae, they will decide if it needs a treatment, what type of treatment it needs, and that really depends on where is that water, where is it going to go. A lot of sources will just dry up on their own, and if that's the case and they won't produce mosquitoes, we'll leave that alone. For a number of years, the economic climate has caused situations where there are a lot of unmaintained swimming pools. The problem with that is they become areas where large numbers of mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus will breed and produce tremendous numbers of adult mosquitoes in areas that are right in our backyards, literally. We really heavily rely on neighbors and homeowners to report those areas to us. And we can be very effective with a 5-minute inspection, maybe utilize some mosquito fish to ensure that there's no mosquitoes coming off of that swimming pool. We use adult mosquito traps to measure the number of mosquitoes that are out in the environment and also to see how many of those are infected with West Nile virus. Every week, a technician will take the trap, they'll hang it up in predefined areas. The top part of the trap has dry ice in it and attracts the mosquitoes. The bottom part of the trap has a fan, which basically sucks the mosquitoes down into a collection basket. Those traps will be left out for about 24 hours. When the mosquito traps are collected and brought back to the lab, a lab technician will count and identify every single mosquito. It's a very time-consuming process, and our staff spend lots and lots of hours at the microscope doing that. Also in our lab, we keep mosquito colonies. We actually grow mosquitoes for a couple of reasons. One, we use them to test our pesticides for efficacy. If you use a particular pesticide too often or there's too much exposure to the mosquitoes, they will eventually develop what's called resistance. Basically, that material won't work anymore. So we want to obviously know when that's happening or if that's beginning to happen. So the mosquitoes that we have in our lab, we know are susceptible to those products that we're using, and we'll compare those to ones that we trap in the wild and compare them. And if we start seeing wild mosquitoes that aren't responding to our treatments, we know that something's up and we need to take some measures to correct that. We know from history, from other places in the world, that vector-borne diseases are not static. They change over time. We continue to be very, very concerned about West Nile virus because there is no cure and it can cause brain-related symptoms, paralysis, blindness, seizures, and even death. We didn't have West Nile here in California before the early 2000s, so this is still relatively new.
The heart of the district is protecting the public's health against diseases like West Nile virus.
When it comes to protecting the public health from mosquitoes, we have a range of tools and materials that we can use. Although we heavily utilize physical and biological control methods to prevent mosquitoes from developing, there are times when we need to use pesticides and biorational materials to control both immature and adult mosquitoes. We have different types of materials that we can use to target the different life stages of the mosquito, and they fall into two different categories. One, larvicides to control for immature mosquitoes or mosquito larvae, and two, adulticides to control for flying adult mosquitoes. We rely primarily on larvicides for our chemical control because we find that it is more effective to control mosquitoes in water before they are able to fly. Of course, we cannot prevent every mosquito larva from developing into adult, so we still need materials designed to control adult mosquitoes, which is the life stage that is capable of transmitting disease. Larvicides are applied to the water where immature mosquitoes live. We may apply larvicides by hand or through backpack type devices to small bodies of water, but for larger areas such as acres and acres of rice fields, we may apply larvicides by plane with an aerial spray.
What most people think of when they hear aerial spraying is using the other type of materials, the adulticides, which are targeting the adult mosquitoes that are flying around. This type of application is very, very safe to humans and their pets. It's targeted to control those adult mosquitoes that are carrying West Nile virus, and we use a very, very small application rate, somewhere between 2/3 to 1 ounce per acre, and we apply it at in a very, very fine mist using an aircraft that's designed to surgically target those areas where those mosquitoes are.
The district can encourage people to use a variety of methods for controlling mosquitoes that don't require pesticides.
Homeowners can do a lot to reduce the mosquito population.
One of those is primarily just draining standing water. Protecting yourself by wearing long sleeves or long pants when you go outside.
Another big part of what we do is public education.
Got the fish?
All the stuff that you learned today, all about mosquitoes and preventing mosquito bites.
Public education really helps us get the public involved with controlling mosquitoes.
Today we're here at a local elementary school teaching second graders about the 3 Ds, how they can protect themselves from mosquito bites by dumping and draining, using DEET, and calling the district if they need any help.
The work we do really doesn't have a lot of high visibility. Being kind of in the background, it means that we're doing our job. It means the mosquitoes are being controlled well. It means people aren't getting sick, and thus the public health is being protected.
Community leaders and legislators can do a lot to help support our goal of protecting public health by working with us. We're always looking for partnerships on projects, and whatever support they can provide us is going to help us do our job that much better.
Together, we can protect folks and keep Placer County a safe and healthy place to live, work, and play.
For more information about mosquito and vector control in Placer County, visit our website at placermosquito.org. We also invite you to connect with us and join the conversation. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.